Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I hope you are in good condition. Okay, in this opportunity, I would like to show you about our presentation with the title is Culture Shock as an assessment in cross-cultural understanding. But before we jump to our presentation, I would like to introduce our member. First, I'm Sirhayu as a moderator and speaker one, and next is Elvianingsi as speaker two, Sylvia Yolanda as speaker three, and the last is Fuji Okta Indriani as speaker four. Okay, the first material will be present by me. Okay, first definition. Okay, according to social psychologist Edgar Science 2010, define the culture shock as a pattern of shared basic assumption learned by a group as it solve its problem of external adaptation and internal integration, which has worked well correct way to perceive, think, and feel in relation to those problems. And next, according to Puska 2080, culture shock is a powerful social transformation reaction that result as a both individual and social levels when important culture force. For instance, define culture shock as the response that individual many have in new country. The person may feel confused and then disoriented, and very aspect of life may be we can say like difficult. And next is according Bill Hadi and Aya 2060, it means that culture shock is basically such as a form of emotional moves created by stimulating of a new culture to someone's own culture having no sense and considered as a new experience. Okay, according to the expert above, we can conclude that actually culture shock involves a powerful and transformative process that takes place at both the individual and social levels as important culture forces are clashing. And then culture shock actually has an individual identity and then invite a reflection on the social implication of a culturally diverse encounters.
Explain about what makes cultural shock. Cultural shocks can be caused by a range of things, both big and small, such as unfamiliar greetings and hand gestures, strange food, difficult language barriers. Getting lost in a new city, making a cultural faux pas because you didn't know the local custom. This unfamiliarity can lead to symptoms such as confusion, anxiety, frustration, loneliness, and homesickness. It can even lead to physical symptoms such as insomnia as a result of time zone change or cold and stomach bugs due to unfamiliar food bacteria. The next topic is stage of cultural shock. Stage 1, the honeymoon stage, is the first stage of cultural shock, and it can often last for several weeks or even months. This is the euphoric phase when you are fascinated by all the exciting and different aspects of your new life. From the scent and smell to the pace of life and cultural habits. During this phase, you are quick to identify the similarities between the new culture and your own, and you find the local hospitable and friendly. You may even find things that would be a nuisance back home, such as the traffic jam, amusing and charming in your location. However, unfortunately, the honeymoon period must always come to an end. Thank you. Back to moderator.
Okay, for the next point is stage 2, or we call the distress stage. Once the honeymoon stage wears off, you may suddenly start getting frustrated or annoyed by your new country, especially the customs and values. The things you're experiencing no longer feel new. In fact, it's starting to feel like the strangeness of a new culture is preventing you from experiencing things. You may feel hostility toward the way things are done here, and you may think that they should be done in a different way. You start to idealize back home and may feel that your current culture, language, and food are inferior to what you are used to. You feel confused and alone, and may realize that the familiar support system of home are no longer easily accessible to you. Don't worry, this is perfectly normal. For the next stage is stage 2, the orientation stage is the first stage in acceptance. During this stage, you begin to understand why things are done in certain way. You start to respect the culture and traditions, whether you consider them to be good or bad. You begin to feel more comfortable in your new environment, and you begin to have a more positive outlook, and you feel more confidence and better to prepare to cope and with any problems that might arise. Remember that culture shock is not a perfectly linear experience. You may return to the distress stage multiple times until you hit. And for the next is stage 4, the adaptation stage. During this stage, your attitude change and you are able to function in both cultures. You have embraced the new culture and are able to see it in a new yet realistic and light. Uh, in this stage, you are typically well orientated to your new life and have developed your own habits and routines. You feel comfortable, confident, and capable of making decisions. You no longer feel alone and isolated. Instead, you start to feel at home. Okay, thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Fujiokta Indriani and I will explain about how to deal with a culture shock. Coping strategies. Probably the best strategy for coping with the various impacts of culture shock is to make a conscious effort to adjust to the new culture. Here are some suggestions on how to make yourself feel more at home in your new surroundings. And first, remember that's it normal. Admit frankly that these impacts exist. It is not a sign of weakness to admit that you feel uncomfortable, tense, or confused. And two, make your own space. Don't try to face it alone. It's best to keep connected with family and friends who can help you stay motivated. Be open to change and exploring this new side of things. And three, keep on open-minded. Look at things from other perspective. If a fellow student or professor acts differently than you would expect, consider how their background and culture influence their behavior. Just as You would want your American classmates to embrace and understand your difference. Do the same for them. And the first is explore. This may be obvious, but make sure you have goals for your trip abroad and make sure they include learning about your host culture. Do you love food? Make it a goal to learn how to cook a local dish. And five is find something you really love. Get involved in some aspect of the new culture, whether you study art of music or learn a new sport or martial art. Being an interested student will make a world of difference. And the last one is set yourself a project. Check, check your visa conditions and find part-time work if possible. This will help you utilize your time and also help you earn some extra bucks for yourself. Needless to say, it also counts as valuable experience when applying for future jobs. Thank you.